Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of the BCE podcast today. We've got something very exciting for you today. Brendan Scott, the World Cup winning captain of Backyard Cricket Australia, formerly the WCG, is with us today. Brendan, morning, mate, or evening. What time is it there?
G'day, bud. How are you? It is currently 6 o'clock in the evening. As we were talking in the green room, mate, we've got the pommy weather here. It's pissing down at the moment.
Yeah, and we've stolen yours. It's quite nice here. Early morning for us. You got the beers on the go there?
No, I haven't had a beer today. It's a rarity on a Saturday, but yeah, no.
Oh, you're a disgrace to your
Yeah.
culture, mate. What's that all about?
Yeah, mate, going soft in my old age. But yeah, no beers today. Prepping for this. We're professional, mate. Just want to have a
Yeah,
good
that's
chat,
what it is. Yeah, so well, tell us a bit about that then. So the update for you guys is that you've moved away from your venue, the WCG, and you've rebranded. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about that rebrand, who you are now, what you're going to be doing going forward?
Yeah, I'd say it's not so much a rebrand as it is just WCG is still the WCG, but it's kind of in the past. So we're starting something new now, which is BCA, which would be Backyard Cricket Australia. Still in the works of finalising playing areas and it's going to be a more portable kind of pop-up setup moving forward, which will be more versatile. Means we can play in kind of any kind of weather and play 12 months of the year, but it's still in the works. And yeah, watch this space. Probably will be up and running in the next couple of months.
Yeah, just to confirm for all our viewers at home that are your fans as well, it's all going to be on the same YouTube channel and it's all going ahead. There's no delays. You guys are going to have a season this year.
It won't be on the same social medias. It'll be brand new. So as I said, we'll leave the WCG as it is. That was kind of its, I think it deserves to stay as its own little separate entity, and we'll just, it'll be a fresh social media channels. But everyone will be, those decisions and those notifications will be passed on to all the WCG fans to kind of move over if they will. It will be a different kind of setup as mentioned, but yeah, we're excited to get started and try something new.
Yeah, and we're excited to see it. And I guess it'll all follow the same model. You guys are going to have a lot of the same player pool and it's going to be played under a lot of same rules. It will be familiar for what people have seen before.
Yeah. Look, there'll be some slight changes possibly. I mean, it's kind of, as I said, it's a work in progress. So it might be, it might start as something, and then we, after a season, we might, bring in some changes. As the WCGs was when it was early on. We started as one thing and kind of brought some other tournaments and rules in and stuff. So it'll be of a similar flow. Well, that's the plan anyway, and we'll just see how it kind of materializes from there. But yeah, I'd say to start with, pretty similar. But yeah, definitely it'll be same player pool.
Yeah, and we can't wait to see where you take it. Why don't you talk us through that wall behind you there, that little wall of WCG memories? I can see one of our shirts on there behind you as well. Do you want to show us a little round around the studio there?
Yeah, some crackers there from. Let's see if we can just tilt that, the lights and shit. Yeah, but yeah, there's some. You've probably seen that in there. You got what have we got? A couple. These ones are from when we played the Kiwis in 2019. A couple of T21s. You can see your one day.
Yeah, that's us from the World Cup. Yeah,
you got Kiwi World Cup one, and we've got a few others on the wall around here. So now some great memories from what was a decade of WCG, and although it's kind of come to an end, it should be celebrated because it was a great time, and it's going to the lessons and the memories and it'll carry over into this new venture as well.
yeah, definitely will. And obviously the memories, like I say, we've been there and had our sort of WCG experience and we loved it. I mean, it was a special place. Do you have like a favourite memory of your time there? Is there one thing that pops into your head when you think of the WCG?
Oh, look, it's hard to go past probably the international matches. The fact that we're able to put a brand together where yourselves and the Kiwis, a bit of an easier trip for the Kiwis, but they still came over. I think it's only a 3-hour flight for them, but for you guys to travel halfway around the world to get here and play, I think kudos to you guys for actually getting over here and playing. But I think it's also an indication of what kind of brand and a product we're able to put together. So that they're hard to go past. I mean, yeah, the fact that we had international cricket there, you do kind of pinch yourself and go, fucking, this is backyard cricket. And people are, you guys are traveling from England to play, and some of the comments on YouTube were like, "Oh, you don't have to call them expats. Yeah, sorry, you don't have to call them tourists. They're expats. They live here." I said, "No, they don't live here, mate. They're
Yeah.
proper from England." So, no, look, I'd say they'd be hard to go past, mate. All the international tours. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember the build up, you know, the lead up to them. You know, we had a lot of back and forth. We're trying to put our tour together. I mean, obviously, COVID put a stop to it initially, but we eventually got it done. But just with, you know, the Kiwis and yourselves, you know, the week before when it was like, oh shit, this is actually happening, and you know, all the prep and all the excitement around that, that's their memories that, yeah, I'll cherish forever. But as I'm sure we'll touch on, we're hoping that that's not the end of it. We're going to push on and create more memories.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I'd say the same, actually, to be honest, for us. Looking back on it now, the preparation and the sort of anticipation of going out there was almost as good as the actually being there
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
That kind of excitement. I mean, we loved our time there. And again, like you mentioned that, just for anyone who's watching, like we weren't expats who lived there. We did go all the way from London out there for that as well. We weren't on a holiday doing other things and decided to drop in. We came to you guys for the backyard cricket, which I guess for you guys, like you say, it speaks to the brand and it speaks to the reach. I mean, is that something you planned when you first started sort of 10 years ago, or was that something you never thought would ever happen, getting teams coming from around the world?
Uh, it's hard to. I've lost some brain cells in the last 10 years, so to think back to that time initially. But
How long
look,
was it? Was it
you
10
know,
years? How long was the
yeah,
WCG?
10 years. This year we're
Yeah,
planning. This season it would have just gone would have been 10 years. So we're planning.
yeah,
It was actually the plan to be the last season of the WCG, but we just never got there. But um, oh look, it's hard to say whether I was confident that we could build something, you know, pretty cool. How that ends up materializing from there, you never know. But I think after a few seasons in, you start getting some popularity, and your social media starts building, and you know you have videos that go around the world, and you get comments from different parts of the world, and you kind of go, well, hang on here, we could create something pretty, you know, pretty unique. And sure enough, we're able to get the Kiwis over, and as much as we were able to build something, it doesn't happen without you guys and the Kiwis coming over and actually, you know, participating. And you know, it's a lot of time, resources, and obviously money to get halfway across the world. So I guess no is probably the answer from the start, but you know, I was always confident that we could build something cool, and however that materialised was going to be up to the gods, really. And sure enough, we got a couple of international tours out of it. So very cool. Very
yeah, it
cool, mate.
was. It really was, wasn't it? And I mean, we should talk about that tour particularly because you had New Zealand over before 2019. I mean, we'll start there because obviously we weren't there for that one. How was that tour? Was that something that you remember? Obviously, you remember it very fondly. How did that
Yeah.
compare to the one that came later on when we were there as well?
I think obviously that they're two different tours. I mean, obviously it was the first ever one, and you kind of like, whoa, like, and it was, you know, it was big media coverage. Um, you know, we're on, you know, first time we're on like Sunrise in Australia, and the morning telly and stuff like that. So it was kind of like a, you know, a whirlwind. You're like, what's going on here? Like, we're playing backyard cricket, and you know, so um, yeah, that was a good series. It was a close series. Ended up being a close series, and we won. I think the second T20, or the 5 over, sorry, the second 5 over match to kind of get home when we were in a bit of trouble, because that was their kind of preferred format. So they started slow to Kiwis, but they came home with a wet sail, and nearly got us. But thankfully, from our point of view, we were able to beat them. But that was, yeah, phenomenal series. Good blokes, and that was the first kind of stepping stone for us to kind of go, right. We've got international pedigree here. We can, and I think that was, you know, when people watched that on YouTube, that's when obviously I think you guys
Yeah,
might have,
yeah,
and other we got messages from blokes in South Africa, the West Indies. You know, we thought, oh, hang on here, Sri Lanka, India, and we thought, right, we could be on here for something pretty cool. Which you know, it's kind of. It's kind of stopped. Obviously, COVID put a lot of stop to what could potentially happen for now, anyway. But you know, that's in the past now, and we'll move on. But yeah, fantastic. Good bunch of blokes too. Great. You know, love the
yeah.
team.
They really
You
were.
know,
Oh
had
yeah, they
good
did.
crack. Mate, their patter was top notch. So,
Oh
and their
yeah,
cricket was good too. So, and that was great too.
yeah. I mean, it was like
As
you
you
say. I mean,
knew.
yeah, and like you say, it was that series because a few of us knew about your channel already in the early days and had been fans, but it had never really occurred to us, you know, go there, play them. until we saw New Zealand do it. And then that was kind of our light bulb, like, oh, wow, maybe we can do that.
Yeah.
And then obviously
and
we
kudos
did.
to them, without them
Yeah.
coming over and making it a reality.
Yeah, who arranged that then? Did they get in touch with you about that? I guess you weren't out there like going through New Zealand teams looking for, or did you have a contact there, or like
No,
how did
it's
that one
funny
start?
because I don't know if you know, they used to run Logan, who was the main guy for Backyard Cricket New Zealand, who created Backyard Cricket New Zealand. He ran a pub tournament called the Backyard Bash, and they would go and have pub tournaments all over New Zealand. And the winners of those tournaments would go on to play the national championships. And the two grand finalists, OG's Hawke's Bay and Fitzroy's Falcons, I think it was, the most of the side was made up of them who came over. But initially the plan was for us to put in a team to go over there and play in their competition. And then, look, I can't remember what happened or why it didn't transpire, but I remember we just thought, well, why don't you guys put a team together and come here? And then one thing led to another. They got a side together and they booked their flights. And before you knew it, mate, we're playing the Kiwis in the Trans-Tasman series. So yeah, initially we were meant to go over there and participate in that tournament, but yeah, we just said we'll come over and play us, and the rest is history.
Yeah, good on them. Yeah, and then obviously they came back again, sort of 4 years later when we came. They were a bit unlucky, weren't they? Because I think their three best players from the first trip didn't come back for the second time, and they did kind of suffer from that. But they were such a good laugh. They're quite a quiet lot, but when they got going, boy, they were putting away a few, weren't they?
Yeah. Once they get a bit of fucking pissing on, they're not quiet. But yeah, that was unfortunate. They couldn't bring their strongest side, but good luck, good on them for they've got quite a big base, a big group of mates as well that they're able to bring some other blokes and form a side. We had obviously Henry Perinara who's played with
one
us,
of your boys,
was kind of able to feature with them, and that's how we met Henry through Vigo, who was an ex rugby league referee along with Henry. So yeah, good bunch of blokes. The second time around they were a bit unlucky, but that's kind of when you guys started to wake up. I mean, we'll talk about the Ashes tour, but the first part of the first week wasn't so great for you, but you've become acclimatised and you really took to that World Cup. It was moments there where we thought, that this could be yours.
Yeah, I guess we should get that out of the way early then. Let's address that Ashes series. So we came out there for 2 weeks, 2 trips, 2 series, sorry. The first week we were there was the Ashes, and then that was followed about a week later by the World Cup starting when New Zealand came over. The Ashes didn't go great for us. But how was it for you guys? What were you expecting? Because a lot of you boys said it kind of went the way you thought, like you'd roll over us in the Ashes and then the World Cup would be closer. Is that how you felt as well coming into it?
Look, I think there was a few of your better players from your setup that didn't come as well, wasn't it?
We weren't at our strongest either. Particularly Rob Maguire was the big absence. Yeah, our best bowler didn't come with us.
If he was there, and was it Alvin?
Alvin Sathya, the all-rounder. Yeah, they were probably our two.
He was the young fella. Was he the young fella who got sick?
Yes, Alvin has not been very well, but good to say that he's on the road to recovery now, and doing really well at the moment. And he is playing. We have a tour coming up, which I think on this podcast there'll be a lot more details about. And Alvin is on that tour. It's going to be his first game in 4 years, so we're delighted to have him back.
Good to hear. But he would have been like him and Rob Maguire with the ball would have been a handful. Obviously, with yourself, Ricky, young Ant, was his first involvement, wasn't it? With
a lot of us had never met Ant before he agreed to join that trip. He did very well, and Connor as well. The two young lads that came in last minute, they didn't really know anyone. Did very nicely.
So once you're kind of missing a few of the key players, and look, you guys play on a different surface to what it's one thing watching the WCG, and it's another thing being able to compete on it. So I remember myself and Matt had a chat that first morning. We, generally you win the toss and you bat at the WCG, but we kind of said, well, look, why don't we stick them in and see how that works? And sure enough,
half an hour later we were all out.
But yeah, to say we were confident. We were confident, but yeah, once you became acclimatized and it was a 3-horse race rather than a 2-horse race, that was, if we thought we're going to play anyone in the final, it was probably going to be you in the World Cup. But yeah, it was pretty one-sided, that Ashes series, unfortunately. But you had your moments. And the test match was the same against the Kiwis when we played them. We kind of routed them, but the shorter format of the game kind of suits. I think it suited a lot of your
brought
players.
Everyone back into it a little bit, I think. I think over the test match, the long period of time, the difference in quality just showed, and it's going to over that length of time. And you guys are obviously, like you say, more acclimatized. It's your pitch. You probably had a stronger team than we did, so it showed too much in the test. That Ashes series, was that, I mean, it's kind of a difficult question to ask in a way, because on the one hand, obviously, you guys will be delighted you won first backyard Ashes, great memories. Was it almost a bit of a disappointment as well for you guys in the sense that it wasn't closer? Or does the pommy bashing just kick in and you don't care, just kind of,
No, I don't think so. I think that if you watch back the footage as I did today, and I haven't, throughout the last few months, year and a bit since the tour was finished. We just enjoy winning, and I think that's
a
lot of people don't understand, like, you're playing backyard cricket. How do you get so, mate? We're competitive when it's match 11 versus Bruns 11, or when it was T20, or when it was one days. Blokes just love competing and winning. So, it's an old age, it's an old heritage thing of Australia and England to bash each other in the cricket. So, we've been doing it for the last 20, 30 years anyway, so we might as well do it in the backyard as well.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you've set the template now, though, as well, because it means that when you guys eventually do come here in the future, we're going to be taking the same mindset. We'll be looking to grind you lot into the dirt.
But that's the thing as well. Yeah, the first tour gets the ball rolling, and obviously it was foreign conditions for you guys, but we'll be heading over there to your patch, and when you guys are up and running, you'll be accustomed to those conditions, and we'll have to find a way to compete. So, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, so we will touch on that because there are plans for an Ashes series in England, and we do see this very much, that tour we went on, as the start of a relationship rather than the whole relationship. But briefly, we'll just talk about the World Cup quickly, because that was the main event, and I think looking back on it now, it was disappointing for us not to win it, but it was such a special time and such a great tournament. So many brilliant games. I mean, for you guys, is that kind of the big triumph of the WCG of that period? It's got to be that tournament.
Yeah, I think
especially for you guys to win it as well. The world champions, you're the World Cup winning captain now. How do you reflect on that as well?
Can you say that again, louder for the people in the back? Or?
No, I think I won't.
Yeah, I think, look, it was because I think you guys beat us every match throughout the pool phase. I think.
Yeah. We were probably the best team in the group stage of that tournament. I have to say, we were the form team.
You definitely were the best team. So I think you're not. There was one of the great games. Ricky won it in Super Over. That'd have to be up there as one of the greatest games ever at the WCG, let alone that tournament.
I mean, I was going to ask you about that game, because some of our boys came back from that trip saying that's possibly the best cricket game of any kind that they've ever played in.
Oh, that's definitely,
of any kind at all. It was something else, that one, wasn't it?
There's a big shout to say that's the greatest match ever played at the WCG. It's definitely probably in the top 5 that I can think of. But yeah, you guys were the best team, and we really had to fight to kind of get the business done. There was a moment.
What do you think that difference was? Because we came into that tournament, you guys wiped the floor with us in the Ashes. But then the first game we played you in that World Cup, we bowled you out for 80. And then we very nearly lost that game. You guys fought back. Then there was that Super Over game. What felt different for you captaining and for you guys playing? What felt different from the week before?
I don't know. I think you'd be better to answer that. But from you guys just got on a roll, and once you get a bit of momentum, and once you win one, you win that first match, and you get the belief. Yeah, I think you played the first match and beat the Kiwis, and then I think we played the Kiwis, and then we played you. So once you knocked us over, and you're top of top of the table. You go, right, we can knock these guys over. You're more acclimatized. I think he's just believed a bit more.
Well, I think, that was the first time we'd beaten you on the tour, so I think that was kind of a monkey off the back for everybody, and then everybody relaxed a bit after that.
You beat us in the dead rubber of the Ashes, but
you fielded a sort of shadow team, and we'd already heavily behind in the series. It meant nothing.
In a competitive match, that was the first, and you guys beat us well in the end. So, I guess I'd ask you, like, what was going through the camp at that time, because it just felt you guys believed a bit more. Once you knocked us over, it's like, right, you got a bit of momentum.
Yeah, I think the Ashes stung a few people, and I think it helped that we had a few days off. Like, rather than finishing the Ashes and then going straight into a World Cup, we had about, 4 or 5 days in between that everyone could just get that out of their system and focus up a bit. And I think a lot of the early nerves had got to us a bit. And then, to be honest, for me, the big difference was that we were much more aggressive with the ball. I felt in the Ashes we were hiding the ball, just trying not to get smashed. Whereas in the World Cup, it was trying to get people out. And the transformation in some players, I mean, going to ask about, who impressed you in our team? The ones I'm thinking of would be Yusuf Sharif and Gurpal Singh. But would that be the same for you?
Oh, I think you as a unit were pretty good. I mean, yourself with the ball. I go back to the limited over series of the Ashes. I remember you getting Daniel Arnold with the first ball, the first T20. And you guys were better. You guys had us on the ropes a few times. Oh, actually, from memory, in that first T20, you had us, four for shit. And
that was the one that got away. That one.
Yeah. So I think there were glimpses in that series, but no, I think you were better as a unit. You were just more up. You were behind each other a bit more. Yourself with the ball, Ricky with the ball, Ricky with the bat throughout the whole. 2 weeks was fantastic. As you mentioned, Yusuf was fantastic with the ball. He was just about unplayable during that World Cup with the ball. I mean, you can make a highlights package of how many plays and misses, even during the Ashes, but during the World Cup, the amount of plays and misses. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't kick the stumps over in frustration. But no, you guys were just great. You took your catches when the opportunity presented itself. You didn't falter with the bat. Young Sammy Dennis played a pretty good knock in the
Super Over game. That was the best of Sammy, because he had quite a tough tour with the bat. That was, which he liked to throw around a bit. But that was some of the best of him, because you can see from his technique that he's a good player.
We'll talk about a highlight of the tour. That was probably one of them when he launched the bat. He's a good player. You guys is he still in contact or anything with his? Just quickly, because
with Sam. Yeah, he's a mate of ours. He's been helping with the venue and helping with all of that stuff. Sam, Sam's still right involved in it.
And that was just showed the passion of wanting to win. And you just didn't fly over halfway across the world to just get on the drink. He's wanted to win and reclaim the Ashes, or take the Ashes home. So, that was good. But he played a couple of good knocks. As you said, he was quiet in the Ashes, and then in the World Cup, there's a few standout performances when it got tough. So I think a lot of things just came together for you. And I think his might have just, as we'll talk about, we ended up triumphing in the final. But I think maybe what do you reckon? He just ran out of steam towards the end because it was hot, wasn't it?
I think so. I think it came down, and obviously later on in this series of podcasts, we do have you back on again to do a little watch along of that final with Ricky Borrett. So I guess we'll go more into it there. But the thing with that, we had injuries by that point. And I think the thing that didn't help was we had a big long gap before the final. We had like 4 hours off, I think, or something like that before we played the final, and it just cooked us.
We'll talk about the controversial forfeit.
Yeah, we'll come to that when we do the watch along for the final, maybe. But I mean,
can I ask you that? Do you think that may have? Because I think the theory was correct. You wanted to conserve your energy for the final that you'd already qualified for, but do you think in hindsight that might have?
I don't think it's even hindsight. I think we knew at the time it wasn't going to help. We didn't feel like we had an option because we were carrying so many injuries that there were players in that team who just couldn't get through an extra game. Yeah. So we just couldn't. I was struggling with me back. That had been a problem the whole time we were there. Ricky's calf was hanging on by a thread. Sam's shoulder was falling to bits. We just couldn't have got another game in, or people might have missed the final. And then you don't want that when you've flown all the way out here. So it was kind of a devil's choice, really.
It felt like common sense. To me. It was like, well.
And the thing that annoyed me about it is that you guys put a video up about that. With all this stuff with you and the Kiwis chatting. I just want to be clear about this now. We never asked for that forfeit. It was offered to us by you guys. And Matt White wanted us to take the forfeit because the day before we couldn't get the last game in and it had to roll over. And Matt White wanted us to forfeit the game so that we could get the tournament done in time to look after the pitch. And we got a lot of grief for forfeiting that game, and it was not actually our choice.
I think whatever helps you sleep at night, mate. But, no, look, I think either. Yeah, I think at the end of the day that you guys had already qualified for the final, which meant that us in New Zealand were playing the playoff anyway. So, and there were times during that playoff that we played against the Kiwis that we were shaky, mate. We were in trouble. What's his name?
The Kiwis were a good side, weren't they? Yeah, that McFarland who opened the batting.
70 odd at the top of the order. We were in a bit of trouble. So, that it could have gone their way as well. But we're able to pull through. But
you guys kept doing that. That was the thing we found through the Ashes and the World Cup. That was the difference and why you won both of those tournaments, I think, was that when it really mattered, when it really come down to it, you guys just found a way to win every single time. And was that years of like mentality, being the competitive spirit at the WCG or whatever, just being trained into people? Is that what that was?
I think it helped that we had a bigger squad than you guys as well, and the Kiwis, we had more to choose from. I mean, we're home team. We played in those conditions. We can deal with the heat probably a lot more than obviously you guys and the Kiwis. I think that played a role towards the back end. But yeah, as you said, you guys were walking wounded by the end of it. So had you had a fit side, if he was a brand new, then maybe he'd give us a bit more of a run. But as it worked out, we're able to get over the line. Yeah, but look, at the end of the day, what a tournament. We'll do the watch along a bit later, but what a tournament. I mean, at times with the bat, Ricky, in that run chase, you're thinking, oh, here we go again.
It was going close.
And so when, obviously when he kind of got out, then it kind of started to fall away from there. But there were times during that innings where you're thinking, fuck, if he gets going here, we're a bit of Barney. So they were able to get over the line, and thankfully. Did you want to have a look at the trophy? I've got it just up here if you wanted to.
You lot are a smug bunch, and you lot. But how do you reflect on it? I mean, because you say no, it is the truth. You are the backyard world champions, the world #1 side. You were the captain of that team. What does that mean to you? How does that sort of, where does that sit in the context of your life? Is that, must be a big point of pride.
100% it is. We loved what the WCG was all about, and we loved doing what we do. And I loved, 10 years, putting tournaments together, in conjunction with Matt, doing the backyard, doing the booking you guys and getting you over, doing all the social media and all that sort of stuff. It was, mate, the time of my life, and loved it. So just the fact to have the tournament as a whole is the victory, to kind of put a tournament together, win, lose or draw. But obviously, you obviously want to win. And of course it is. It's bragging rights. We've got the trophy, and then you guys want it. You guys want it next time, and if you guys end up winning it and taking it back to England, then you can bet your bottom dollar we would have been knocking on the door, coming, right, when are we coming over to grab our trophy back?
And I have to admit, we would not have been as gracious as you lot were if we'd have won it, I think. So we'll give you lot props for that. The sportsmanship was amazing all the way through.
I think, to be fair, on our home patch, we should be expected to win. But as we've talked about, there were moments during that tournament where we were thinking, we're in a bit of Barney, and we were able to win the big moments and get through it. I think probably due to a bit of experience and used to the conditions and whatnot, which helps. But that might not be the occasion if the next World Cup's in England or the next World Cup's in New Zealand. It will be challenges. It'll be a new challenge for us as well.
Yeah. So, and just to confirm, we've got a couple of minutes left here, so I guess the future is what we should finish on. And just to confirm, I think that will be good news for a lot of fans listening. There is going to be more World Cups. There are going to be more of these events, and we have been talking about an Ashes potentially in 2 years' time. Do you want to just tell us sort of how that's progressing and sort of how realistic we think that is at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've got to set some sort of markers to try and work towards. So we've identified June, July 2027 as a possible date. I mean, there's a lot of water to go under the bridge before that. It's ambitious. It's an ambitious date. It might not happen, but as we had a date set out, and COVID derailed that. We just pushed it back, and we got the series done. So, you know, we'll aim for 2027, which is what about now. It's about 2 years from now. We'll see how we go. If it's not then, it may be 6 months to a year later after that. But this is only the beginning. From the cricket fans watching it, this is only the beginning, and that's exciting. You know, both of our setups are kind of in its infancy and a bit of a rebuild going on, but it's for longevity and for the future. So definitely some tours. We want to have you guys back here. We'd love to come over and defend the Ashes in England. I mean, that's probably the next point of call, and I'm sure, you know, you guys have got some exciting things happening in your setup as well, which I'm sure, mate, I think you should probably touch on as well. But the brand is growing. The popularity of this kind of form of cricket is growing, and it's going into new places. And we're excited.
Yeah, and so are we. And that, I think, is just the best thing about this, is the fact that it's going to keep going. The relationship is there now. It wasn't a one-off. We know that one way or another there is going to be another Ashes. We're going to get a chance to take it off of you lot. Any final words for the fans, Brendan? WCG fans, BCA fans that are watching this? Any final words before we close up that you want to let everyone know?
Well, the BCA fans are 0 at the moment, but they will be in there plentiful soon. But look, just stay tuned. There's more to come. You know, thank you for your support in the WCG era. A decade of, mate, the greatest decade of my life. It was fantastic. Just loved it. And that's just whet the appetite for moving forward and creating the new venture. And yeah, mate, full steam ahead. And mate, we'll be doing this to where, I was about to say old and grey, but I'm already old and grey. But older and greyer, maybe less hair. So no, this is for the long haul, 20, 30 years. And I'm sure, you know, conversation with yourself and Ricky, this is, you know, you guys feel the same. So
yeah, we do. Yeah.
Long may it continue, and just strap in and enjoy the ride.
Yep, and yeah, I think that's pretty much what we'd say as well. Brendan, it's been a privilege. If you're watching this at home on the BCE podcast, you'll have just seen a shortened version of this interview. You can watch the full one in a couple of days' time. If you are watching that full version now, thanks. Hope you've enjoyed it. Brendan, it's been a privilege, mate. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you again soon.
Legend, mate. Great to talk to you. Cheers.
Cheers, bud.